Um, you know what I really like? When two megastars interview each other. You know, it's like it's crazy. Like the meetings of the mind. Like like you have one of those like super bands and stuff.
You do realize you have Pete Davidson on the screen?
That's Pete Davidson?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I thought it was just a butthole with teeth.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. Well, here we have Glenn Close is interviewing Pete Davidson, and he's talking about his bipolar disorder.
Oh, of course he is.
I was always just so confused all the time and just like thought something was wrong.
Pete Davidson is opening up about his mental health
Oh
struggles.
my God, that's all he does. But that's all he does. It's like stop pretending like he's been this elusive creature that I don't like to talk about my personal stuff, man. Like that's all he talks about. This you might as well write an article and go, we got a random white girl to open up about her mental illness. Like, well, yeah. It's literally all you have to do is sit down next to a white girl and they'll be like, I have bipolar and they say, no, I'm really ADD and I have OCD. Like it's all he talks about. He's an uninteresting white woman.
But that's a really good point. Like I'm not even saying,
we finally got him to open up about his
right. I'm not saying like, imagine you get like someone, a big star on.
Like Bill Murray comes
and
on and goes, I've been suffering from depression for years. Yeah. You go, wow, like that's a guy that never opens up about things.
You're Glenn.
Why don't you just fucking deal? Why don't you just fucking deal with it the same way Robin Williams did? Fucking asshole. Here, I have the interview without the guy interjecting in the middle, so let's just pull that up.
Pete Davidson.
Close, obviously.
And you're Pete Davidson.
Yes, unfortunately.
Davidson?
Is that how you say it?
The imagination, and that's.
Oh, so they did pardon Julian Assange.
But here we are. The thing that
great.
I also, and maybe we're going to veer all over the place, but I find stand-up comedy one of the most terrifying propositions I could think of. So I want to ask you about that courage.
Well, the way Pete Davidson does it.
Well, Glenn, it's actually really easy. What you do is you have everybody sign an NDA saying they're not allowed to talk about anything or you'll sue them out of existence. That's what I do anyway. You should try that, Glenn.
Where do you think it's courageous and where it comes from? Because I find
it's courageous, Royce.
Doing stand-up is courageous?
It's basically like being a frontline worker.
Is it really?
They're heroes. Well, I mean, if people that work at Walmart are heroes now, then I guess we can give stand-up comics the hero status, right? Everybody's a hero now. The word's worthless anyway.
It is like frontline workers because both of them don't really ever see their kids. So yeah, that sounds about right.
But like seriously, if I got to drive past one more Jiffy Lube or Tire Kingdom that says heroes work here, I'm going to slit my wrists. It's like, no, Puerto Ricans work there. Okay.
I find it astounding how you create material.
Does Glenn Close have a receding hairline?
First of all, it's Julian Assange.
I'm
Show
sorry.
some respect and just be grateful that he's out.
You're right.
Material out of your own life, and you have the courage to get up there and talk about
Was
it.
Glenn Close the original handsome woman?
Yes, she was one of them.
She's a handsome woman.
Yeah.
Well, first, I think we would all love to see Glenn Close do stand-up. That would be incredible.
We'd all like to see Pete Davidson get something better than a 360p fucking webcam.
What do these people do in this industry now besides just lie about how exciting and great everything is? Right? Like, do they do anything else?
No.
Like, I would love to see you stand up, Glenn. I think everybody would love to do. Yeah, to watch her bomb how horrendously.
I think it is. There's obviously tons of more courageous jobs, but I do think it is kind of courageous to get on stage in front of people because it is terrifying. The reason why I think I was able to do it is because like a thing happened to me when I was really young. Like we lost my dad, so I was just
whoa! Hey, first.
Oh, look, kid, you act like you're the only one who ever lost a father. My dad died too, bro.
A 9/11?
Everybody in New York is. Nah, he died like 6 years ago. He's really old. But the point is.
Wait a second. This is the first time hearing of Pete Davidson's dad dying.
Is that
What's
all?
this about?
Is that all that's left in New York? Is people crying about their dead dads?
like
they really take the nickname Gotham seriously.
Fucking seriously.
when I was 16, I always wanted to try it because it was like what got me by Eddie Murphy and Chappelle and Bill Burr and people like Mulaney. And it was just such a great escape. And my friends were like, you should do it. And I was like, they were like, what's the worst thing that could happen? And I was like, oh, you're right. The worst
You
thing
could
that
get
could
famous
happen.
and then we'd never get rid of you. That would be.
That's
That's the worst case scenario in my mind.
Very scary.
Pretty much already happened.
That's so fucking funny. I know a guy that was in that.
Hillbilly Elegy or
Yeah,
whatever.
he was an extra in that movie, and he wouldn't shut up about it.
Oh.
And he's one of those guys that like. He's been doing stand up forever. He's chasing the dream the same way we all did at some point. And he's one of those guys that like lives like he moved from Florida because he couldn't afford to live in Florida, which like how do you not afford to live in Florida? And then like this guy's like always talking about like the business and the craft and stuff, but like this was his big moment, was like he was like, look, I got to see a movie that I was in. And it's like, yeah, but like on Netflix. It's not like you went to a movie theater and you were like, oh, look at me on the big screen. And it's like, he's one of those many people that you see that are like, yeah, bro, I'm just out there. You know, I'm on the road doing gigs, living the dream, but they live out of their car and they have like no money on them. And you're like, that sounds terrible. That sounds like a terrible way to live. I was in a movie though. It's like, yeah, you were in the background pouring a cup of coffee. It wasn't like, you know, nobody went, oh, shit, that guy, he's the next big thing.
Kind of abuse, substance abuse and physical abuse is passed down to the next generation unless it's taken care of.
Do you think your dead dad was a drunk, Pete? Do you think your dead dad had a drug problem? Do you think maybe that's why he didn't make it out of the tower in time? Because he was so hungover?
Did he have a bunch of terrible tattoos done by his buddy in his basement?
Now that would be a funny interview. Hey, Dad, hey, Pete, was your dad a smoker? Was he a smoker and a drinker? Because it's probably why I couldn't get down the stairs. Watch this. Because the beauty about Hollywood is these people are so fake that he'd have to sit there and be nice to Glenn Close. That would be the best part of it. Just watching her turn the screws on him.
You know, I mean, a lot of it is PTSD. And if you don't take care of PTSD, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And it will keep affecting you terribly.
Don't you love listening to millionaires talking about how they have PTSD? It's awesome.
Amazing,
it's
right?
fucking awesome.
You know, when I was on the set of, like, stop it.
Probably an effect to all the people around you.
This looks terrible.
Which one's Glenn Close in this scene?
This looks terrible, right?
Yeah, of course it's terrible.
It's like, you know, it's funny. It's like when you have like these Hollywood elites try to write like hillbillies, it never feels right. Like you can always feel when a show is well written or well done, and they have they have roots in the area that they're writing about. Like when somebody like lives in whatever Florida Panhandle and they want to make a Florida Panhandle movie, that's the best guy for it. But when these Hollywood cunts write a thing, they're like, family dog, guy, we live in the wood. We're all hills have eyes people, and it's like they're not though. They're actually there are hills have eyes people in
Kicking
the
it with
country,
men.
of course, but you know, there's also tons of people that live there because they work at the local jail or because they work at, you know what I mean? Like there's jobs up there. They might be involved in some sort of manufacturing business, but like they just treat it like, we're all like these people out here. And it's like, they're not all like that though. There's a lot of people that just are like, yeah, hi, I live in the Florida Panhandle. It's like, I would move, but you know, I work at Florida State Prison and it's right there. And I mean, what am I going to commute from Orlando? Come on. But these people just, they are so, stop trying to write things about hillbilly people. You're not good at it. It's terrible.
Thought something was wrong and didn't know how to deal with it. And then like when somebody finally tells you that the weight of the world just feels lifted off your shoulders, you just feel.
You do realize the movie was made by a book of a guy that came from that environment. Yes, have you read the book? Because if you've read the book, he doesn't make them look like backwards hillbilly fucking water people.
Just because it's based on a book doesn't mean that they don't take creative license with it and execute it poorly. That's executed poorly.
The book was actually an uplifting story about a dude that came out of a really bad environment and he made it. But they're this Ron Howard directed this movie. They're making it this cartoonish. This is cartoonish. Well, I've dipped in my mouth and I'm crazy. I'm a crazy southerner.
And okay, granted, most of those people are crazy and probably have dip in their mouth. Fine, but like find a respectable way to portray it.
So much better. So I hope she feels that way as well. I think no, I thought it was really spot on. Just like the way it affects other people is what you really don't think about. I think when you're starving for an addiction, because it's just that is the most important thing at the time. Is just kind of trying to get by.
I have a question, Pete. Do you still smoke weed every day?
Well, yeah, but it's medicinal.
Because if you smoke weed every day, I hate to break it to you, pal, but you're addicted to something. Just a heads up.
Nah, but it's medicinal. It's okay.
Can't keep telling yourselves that. It's medicine, man. Really? Because I don't recall ever smoking medicine, but that's just maybe that's just me.
It was like beautifully done, but also just so emotional, and it was just really an honest depiction.
Let's talk about King of Staten Island and the fact.
Can we not?
Yeah, can we not? It's not that good.
Can we not, please?
It's actually not that good.
Please stop pretending like this was a good movie. Thank you.
It's his only movie. That's literally why they do it, because it's his only movie to talk about. He doesn't have anything else. If you were interviewing Adam Sandler, you'd have a fucking laundry list of movies you could talk about.
Yeah, this is funny. Fergus is saying, okay, Adderall guy that smokes weed. Mike's not pretending to be fucking trying to be clean guy and trying to get over it.
Seem angry.
Yeah,
honestly,
he owns it.
Hey, Fergus, it seems like you've been hanging on to that for a little bit.
Yeah, he owns it. There's a difference between every day's a battle than to I smoke weed and I drink. Who gives a shit?
By the way, I love these that do that. They'll be like, yeah, man, we're cool. Like, we're totally cool. And the minute you disagree with them, yeah, you fucking Adderall addict, piece of shit. And you're like, whoa.
Hey.
Sounds like you are being very emotional about a guy that makes fucking jokes on the internet. Maybe stop getting so emotionally involved with a fat comedian from YouTube.
Steve Buscemi's in this movie?
Yeah, he was in King of Staten
First of all, the story.
Oh, that's right. He played one of the 9/11.
Yeah, Steve Buscemi has to remind us every couple of years that he was a firefighter. Like, we get it.
Is so wonderful, and your character is so wonderful in it. Are the other characters that are in The King of Staten Island people that were actually in your childhood or in your growing up there?
And my crew?
Yeah, in your crew.
The friends that I had in the movie were pretty much spot on with the ones I had in real life. The firemen that all my dad's friends, actually one of the actors was one of my dad's real friends, and he always wanted to be an actor, so it was really cool to have him on set. And also, if you know Staten Island, there was this scene where we're all in a basement and some guy just comes to the window asking for pills. It's very Staten Island. That's pretty much how it rolls down here. We do not get a great rap.
You must have a great mom.
You live in her. This isn't me making the joke like people do. He does literally live in her basement. That's not a made up thing.
Very, very lucky boy. My mom, single mom, raised me and my sister by herself, had 3 jobs, still takes care of us. I'm a very, very lucky boy, for sure.
She's the kind of person I'd love to sit down and have,
Glenn Close wouldn't make eye contact with anybody like Pete Davidson's mother. The only reason she's pretending is because she's a good actress and you have him on. Can you imagine if fucking Glenn Close is walking down the street and she goes, hey, I'm actually Pete's mom and you said you wanted to talk to me?
Who's Pete?
Exactly. That's exactly what would happen.
Well, actually, I have to poke some holes in your logic there, Royce. Because your entire scenario that you just dreamed up is predicated on Glenn Close being caught dead in Staten Island, which she would never run into Pete Davidson's mother because she'd never take the ferry to Staten Island.
Yeah.
Nobody likes that. Other New Yorkers don't go there. Like, if you know somebody that's like, hey, we're partying, whatever, and you're in the city, and they're like, yo, come party, whatever, we're in Staten Island. The appropriate response is always, Yeah, can't you come over here though? Because we're in Brooklyn and it's way better. Can you just come here? I'm not going to Staten Island.
Cup of coffee with somebody. She must be a very cool person. And what did she think of, or what does she think of King of Staten Island?
She
was like, Petey, is it only coming out on Hulu?
What do they still have theaters, honey?
Yes,
I mean, yeah. Is that like a YouTube channel or?
I was gonna tell my friends to see it, but they don't have a Hulu subscription. Is it on Netflix? Fucking Pete Davidson. Jesus Christ. Pete Davidson really does feel like one of those. Some people become famous because, you know, whether you like them or not, because, you know, they do something and it's big. Is it just me, or does Pete Davidson feel like one of these artificially famous people? Like one of these things where they've decided
100%.
that Pete Davidson's gonna be famous.
Yeah.
Like it's
they've been astroturfing him forever. It's
one day they woke up and they just decided, hey, guess what? Pete Davidson's going to be
Pete's the
famous
guy.
against any metric of why this guy should be famous. He's not a good actor. I mean, look at him. You know, he's not really funny. And every time we make fun of Pete Davidson and we clip this stuff, there's always he has these droves of fucking, usually women. It's not men. We'll say this.
Yeah.
The people that defend
There's
him are
single
women.
mothers that Pete reminds them of the guy that dumped cum in them and left. That's
Right.
exactly what it is. Pete Davidson reminds every single mother of the guy that left them.
Right.
And they're like, you leave Pete alone. He's awesome.
He's awesome, and you know, even if you don't think he's funny, you shouldn't be mean because he has a mental disorder.
Yeah. And then they always say the things about Pete that women say about like abusive guys or like dudes that are junkies that you go like, why are you with this guy? Like you could do better than this. And they're like, he's trying really hard. All right.
You're right.
They say that about Pete. He's trying really hard. And I'm like, so are a lot of people. So are a lot of more deserving people to be on SNL, frankly.
was first off very emotional and proud that I got to do a job. She was just like very thrilled and was just like, I'm very happy that you get to do something you're passionate about. And then,
Well, besides heroin. Because he's really big into that, too.
Staten Island, and it's hilarious the way the two of you talk, especially that bit where you were saying his picture in the paper looked like this and your picture.
So Glenn Close watched like clips of it to make it seem like she watched the movie.
And then now she's slipping in a specific reference. So it looks like she watched it.
Kinda-
I know that trick, Glenn.
Yeah, like when talk show hosts like read the middle of somebody's book.
Hey, Glenn, me and him know what you're doing. We see right through it.
We know
We do it
exactly
all
this
the
play,
time.
of course.
You know, I love the chapter of your book when you talk about your time when you were at Disney and how much fun that was. One chapter that you thumbed. Didn't even read the chapter. You just saw one chapter was called My Time at Disney.
Yep.
Great things when you come zooming on to a weekend update. You've written that, right? Because it seems so incredibly spontaneous.
Can you pause? Forget about Pete for a second.
Oh, I know what you're going to do.
Look at everything else, right?
Yeah.
Look at just how, like, clean and sanitized SNL looks, right? Like, isn't that... It doesn't have that... Like, go back and watch old SNL. It had, like, a gritty, fun, like, edgy vibe to it. The not quite ready for primetime players and all that. But, like, look at how just the lighting and the smiling black guy and the...
You're right. I mean, go look back at when Norm was Weekend Update. Or it was you
so
knew
sanitized.
something. You were like, oh man, what are these guys gonna say? They're about to rip these people apart. And now it's just like, fucking Orange Man, huh? Orange Man bad? Am I right?
And it's just...
Midwest people are stupid compared to us.
It feels so sanitized. It's gross.
That's a good point. Dave, what's his face? The guy we did the roast with actually writes all the stuff for the Weekend Updates.
Yeah, Dave Cyrus.
Yeah.
yeah, I write all those with my writing partner, Dave, who wrote
Okay.
The King of Staten Island with me. And we just, we usually just sit in a room and we try to make as much fun of
That's right. Dave wrote that too. I like you, Dave, but Jesus.
me as possible, and then just like put jokes around it. But that's my favorite thing to do because it's just
Well,
you don't
besides
have to put
smoke
up.
pot.
No. Also getting terrible tattoos. Don't forget.
On all that makeup and stuff. And sometimes I love it, but the worst thing is like sometimes you're only in like one thing, and you'll be dressed up like a clock, or like I had a dress.
Whoa. So he's pointing out that even the guy that everyone's pushing is sometimes shows up and he only does one thing.
Like a clock, or like I had to dress up as like Count Chocula, which is a cereal mascot.
We all know what fucking Count Chocula is.
And you're just stuck in this outfit for like 4 hours in your dressing room, just looking at yourself in the mirror, and you're like, what am I doing?
You honestly look more presentable as Count Chocula than you do normally.
Mascot. And you're just stuck in this outfit for like 4 hours in your dressing room, just looking at yourself in the mirror, and you're like, what am I doing? Why am I dressed like Count Chocula? It's so crazy. Is
it crazy?
Is this your first movie for Netflix?
Yes, think so. Yeah.
Were you super pumped about that? Do you have an opinion between a movie coming out either on Netflix or in theaters? Is there one?
Yeah, look at her. Oh wow, look at her face. Look at her. Okay, you got to watch this. You got to see that she is not happy.
Just absolutely like insulted her in a very amazing way.
Look at her face. Watch.
Do you have an opinion between a movie coming out either on Netflix or in theaters? Is there one that you'd rather?
Oh God, it's awkward in here.
Imagine giving all this money to these people, and they're all just like, ugh, Netflix.
Yep. Look, let's see. Look, you see that this is like
she did the
that face is the hello darkness, my old friend face.
She's not happy.
She is just like, I made a huge mistake.
She's displeased.
Oh boy.
Or did you enjoy the streaming world?
Yeah, I think it's interesting how
this. Get ready for these mental gymnastics that are coming from Glenn Close, because I can't wait.
More creative freedom. You think we're gonna get that? More and more creative freedom.
Oh, I like this. Okay, I like what you're doing this way. Okay, what are we gonna get? Okay, more creative freedom.
Yeah, it's a looser atmosphere. You know, it's very chill.
Less pressure to perform because you don't have to worry about box office numbers. They have a built-in audience.
Yeah, who needs an Oscar?
Yeah, built-in audience. Yeah. Okay, let's see.
Many options we now have that we didn't have before. I mean, it's crazy to think that when I started in 1974, it was theater, TV, or movies, right? There was no cable, nothing. And TV was definitely the poor cousin.
Boogie Bumper says has another one. Streaming is the future. We can't avoid it. She's going to say that. That's another good one.
I think you can almost choose, if you have the luxury of choosing, how best to tell your story. Do you want to have a mini series? Do you want to do a longer series? Do you want to do a movie? And you can choose it for how you want it to impact people. I think the streaming thing is great because, I mean, during COVID, I have looked at whole.
I should have said during COVID. Fuck, I was thinking of it too, and I didn't say it. Fuck me.
So Netflix is the fat girl that you're fucking because your girl left you.
Yeah.
Got it.
I've looked at whole series. I never would have done that before. I really miss, and I think everybody misses, going to a theater and getting your popcorn and your Milk Duds and sitting down and seeing a movie with.
Ew, thank you. I'm so glad you focused on that.
Fuck eats Milk Duds.
Ew, come on. You get mini Snickers or M&M's.
In a community of people, and you all kind of react to it together. And that's an important thing for humans. It is lucky to have the audience that Netflix
there it is
gives us.
Yes, built-in audience. I get 1 point. Right. 1 point for me. Put it down. Someone keep score. 1 point.
You know, millions more people will see our stories than would have if it had been.
Well, millions more people are going to look at the trailer that Netflix auto plays and they'll be like, nah.
Yeah, nah. The same number of people are going to see your stories.
Yeah.
In theaters. And I'm really, really grateful for
Like
that.
Roy said, they're going to see it on the menu and they're going to go, this is Hillbilly Elegy, Glenn Close.
Yeah, I'm not watching that.
John Mulaney's got a new special. That's exactly what they're going to do.
I have to talk about.
No, you don't.
This is one of my two favorite movies growing up, and still it's very legendary. 101 and 102 Dalmatians.
That's the movie you picked.
Holy shit!
That's the movie you picked.
You get Glenn Close, and look, I don't really like Glenn Close, but you have to admit, storied career, right? Storied career.
She's definitely my top favorite actress from 101 Dalmatians ever.
Oh my god, Pete, what are you doing, bud? Wow.
There's so many questions, but like, what made you want to do that?
Can I answer? Disney gave me a lot of money.
Yeah.
They pulled the dump truck up and just poured money on my front lawn.
And I kept asking him to stop, and I wasn't even definitely saying yes, but then they just
kept doing it,
dumping money, and then eventually I went, all right.
Bob Iger showed up in a Ferrari. He said, "This is yours now," and he left.
A Brinks truck just pulled up to my house.
Yeah.
That role, that's such an iconic role. It was so amazing.
No, nobody remember. Okay, I'm sorry, Pete. Nobody remembers the live action 101 Dalmatians. They remember the cartoon. I don't, and I could say this confidently that you know what you never hear? You never hear, oh, remember fucking the live action 101 even the dumb girls on Facebook aren't talking about
The
that.
animated one.
Yeah, no one's talking about that.
Any Disney like live action stuff fucking stinks. It always has.
Yeah.
I think it's because when I was little, I was really enamored with fairy tales, and even the darkest, weirdest ones. I love fairy tales, and I also grew up on, because I'm so old, on things like Bambi and Snow White. And they just were, again, it was about basically a bad, the children go to the dark place and then they're rescued, right? And I noticed that as the years went on, that you have to remove the mother, basically, to have anything happen to the children. You can have a clueless father. You can have a
well, for Pete Davidson, you had to remove the father. But okay.
Is this the plot to a movie, or are these just notes that you wrote down during Hollywood's plan on what to do to actual children? Well, if we remove the mother from the home, we get her in the workplace, and then create a broken one-parent home, and then we can all of these kids. And they went, God damn it, Goldman, it's genius.